Welcome back to another episode of A Record of My Father. Here we are today talking about happiness, I believe. I believe that's what we're going to talk about today and the pursuit of it. And maybe when was the last time you were happy, huh?
Me?
Yeah.
Uh, this morning, I was I took the dogs out. I walk I walk about 2.5 miles along the Potomac, as many mornings as I can. And I did that this morning, and uh, it's a when you come down the Potomac, you're walking down a cliff and over a bunch of rocks and all this kind of stuff like that. We came down to the water, and the dogs were all happy, and a bald eagle hops, flies off, and it was so big that the limb went.
I
And I
can't
saw it,
remember the last
and
time I
I
saw a bald
know
eagle.
it was a bald eagle because you could see the white around the feet, and then all the dark, and then the white head, and it was I mean, it was big. It was like whoa, like 3 feet tall. It was a big giant bird, and it was just like it just caught me, and I stopped. And I just stood there for a second, and because usually I'm just kind of walking through it to get the exercise and the stuff, but a lot of times I forget. And I've been reading more and more about the ability to uh, uh, make sort of get into yourself when you go into the woods and the nature and all that kind of stuff, and you enjoy the moments when you interact or when you have them. And that to me was like, you know,
A
very neat.
moment of
Really,
solitude, yeah.
yeah, it was
Mhm.
just wacky cool. I just was like, wow.
I can't even remember the last time I saw a bald eagle. I don't know if I've ever seen one. Maybe once.
I think I've
Like,
seen a golden one. Uh Trying to remember. I've seen a lot
what
of
is a golden
interest.
eagle?
Golden eagle's going to be sort of a brown all the way up, not that dark, almost black color that you see with the white head and the white feet, or yellow feet, but it was white all the way around the bottom. But
Mm.
the golden eagle's going to be sort of a brown, you know. That's why they call them golden, because they're brown, whatever the hell that means. But
Golden brown, I guess.
yeah, it's the same, I guess, class of bird. They're big as hell. They eat fish, uh, yada yada
Don't they
yada.
all eat fish
Yeah, pretty much.
for the
You know, they're
most
just
part?
they're just bears in the sky.
Sky bears.
Sky bears. That's what we should call
Oh,
them.
that's
Sky
okay.
bears.
That's going
Here
in
it's coming.
we're gonna cap that for the merchandising later.
Yeah, sky
We're
bears.
we're planning on merchandising
We're
currently.
we're changing the bald eagle's name to Sky Bear. I like
Sky
Sky.
bear. That's
Sky
great.
Bear. Yeah.
It better not get stolen.
I
Somebody's
got to
gonna
tell you, I've seen some cool stuff. I saw osprey hit a fish, and it was in the where is it? Lincoln Memorial. No, Jefferson Memorial, where they have the little lake there. There's some osprey that live there. And I was sitting on the bridge there, and just a lot. I was walking along, and this is maybe 15 years ago or something. And I just saw this giant bird come out of the sky and hit the water and come up, and it had a fish that was probably 8 inches long. I don't know what the hell kind of fish it was. I think it was a catfish, but hey, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
You seen those big
Eh,
catfish where they hunt them? They put their arm underneath the
Oh,
water, underneath the
yeah,
dock,
that's
and they fish by putting their arm in the mouth of the catfish, and
yeah,
they lift it out of the water. Isn't that
yeah,
crazy?
yeah. We used to,
That's
we
gross.
used
I
to,
don't know.
we used to down at the pilot house. We used to go down there, and this is speaking of happiness, and we would fish off that dock. And there's mudcat, and the mudcat, buddy I was with at the time, Greg, he was a this good fisherman. If you catch fish, right? I can't catch crap
I
unless
mean,
it.
can you be a bad fisherman but you catch fish? Is that even possible?
Yeah, no, you can't be. You're right. Anyway, he caught one, and maybe uh 2.5 feet long, big giant head, the whole thing, pulled it in. It took forever to get it in. And it was, we were there sitting on the pilot house. We had this Friday night party place that we went to, and this is in my teens. We would drive down to the pilot house and go out on the dock. And I can tell a story now because I think the statute of limitations is over. Is that we would go out there, and we would we would we would go on the dock, and we would bring beer, and we drink beer, and sometimes smoke a little weed, whatever. Uh, I think always we smoked weed, and there were other guys that came and showed up, and we would at some point we would get low on beer, and one of us would hop onto one. There's cabin cruisers. You're on a dock, and there's a bunch of cabin cruisers there, and we would go over to the cabin cruisers, and we were like weirdly respectful. We would hop, we'd get in it, climb through a window, go inside, look for liquor, only liquor. And if they had liquor, you would only take one bottle, not three. And then go out, shut the door, leave it, go out, drink your liquor on the dock until everybody got hammered. And, and then if we got hammered and we didn't have enough, then we would find another boat and take one bottle and not take it all. And we did this for 18 months. I mean,
That's a long time.
yeah, I mean, it was like Friday night, free liquor night. And, I think we were underage at the time. So it was kind of like cool, because we didn't have to go to your brother or your, some weirdo that you had to give $20 to get a $4 bottle of liquor at the time and all that kind of stuff. We could just snatch it or pick it right out of the cabin cruiser boats. And as long as you were decent about it, you didn't have that problem. And I mean, it brought me a lot of happiness. We spent a lot of nights there and mostly it was just, you throw your fishing rod and thing and you bullshit and you smoke cigarettes and you talk about life and where you're going to go and what you want to be. And at that point in life, it was like, what kind of car are you going to get? And I'm going to drive a Maserati. Well, no, it wasn't then. It was Trans Am, a T-top with all and whatever. But that
Of course, it was the T-top.
yeah, it was
it was.
happy. It was who was it? Burt Reynolds when he was doing Smokey and the Bandit, and that was like the big thing then. I actually knew somebody that bought one of those, and then my roommate later bought one. Oh God, that was crazy. Anyway,
Taking the glass off of those was a nightmare too, wasn't
yeah,
it?
and they stored in the trunk and sort of, and that was all the trunk space. I remember going places with those. But anyway, we did that for almost 18 months, and then I mentioned it to somebody that is not a they're destroyers, and you'll meet people in life that are like
Destructive.
sort of like, yeah, well, I mean, we were thieves, okay, granted.
Yeah.
We were what we were, but I thought this was I always thought destroying things is stupid if you're not going to use them. It makes no sense to me. It just never has bonded in my head. But we invited them down there. They went in there, stole all the liquor, started trashing the place inside. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? And that was on a Friday night. And we would go Friday and Saturday a lot of times. We came back the next day. There's a fence across the dock. No trespassing. Trespassers will be prosecuted. You can't get onto the dock anymore. And it was done. Gone.
Jeez. And one foul swoop.
One thing. And we've
That's
been
how
doing
it
it
was bad.
And I think that like when you think about all the times that we did this and nobody notices, because who knows that you got three half gallons of liquor on your boat, or 4 or 6 or 8, and one's gone. The first thing you think is, no self-respecting thief would come in and do this. This is one of my kids.
Exactly.
So we knew we were just sort of playing that card, and so let's just be smart about this. And and luckily the people we were with were not greedy.
Which is
no one's ever going to know, and no one ever would have known. And I'd still be 65 hanging out at Pilot House drinking free liquor, going like, yeah, I'm drinking gin tonight. Why? Because that's all that was in the cabin cruiser, whatever.
So maybe it was good that happened, Like maybe.
Yeah, maybe so, because you wouldn't be born.
No, I'd never be born. You'd still be not catching fish off the dock at the Pilot House.
So happy. I mean, it was a great time, and that was happiness time. And it's like, what I think about now, I guess I'm retired. I can't. It's hard for me to say that.
It's been 2 years since you've not really been able to.
Oh, more than that. December 2020 was my last. Right. That was my last real job, and
wow.
I am on. What do you call it? I'm on Social Security. I started collecting Social Security. So
you're so old,
Yeah, that's like, hey, you're technically, when you collect Social Security, you should be, and then Medicaid is coming up in November. Holy crap. Now I'm going to have to start the blue hair smell, I still bathe every day, so that's good.
You got to stop doing that. You got to stop doing that.
Well, the funny thing is, as you get older, you have more. When this happens, you have time, and you have time to think about things. And I think that my whole life, other than thinking about bad things, I didn't that ability to sit back and go like, ah, what do you want to do? And not to what do you want to do to survive? you know, I mean that's a completely different level of thinking, you know. Wow, I don't have
So you're
to.
not in the survival mode. Is that what you're talking about?
No, not at all. I mean, I am when I saw the two coyotes yesterday. I was for the dogs, and it kind of freaked me out. And the wife's like asking me, and I'm saying, was there a coyote eradication? Yeah, yesterday, the quick story. I went in my backyard on the left-hand side. In the morning, I saw a small coyote, about the size of a Labrador running on the
That's
left-hand side,
big.
ran up, and I have a big fence, and it's a good enough size, but it was truly a coyote, and the dogs ran over and he ran away. But he was outside the fence. And then I went on the other, and then in the afternoon at 4 o'clock, I was walking the dogs down around the yard again. And the yard's kind of big. I have, 4 acres, something like that. So, and it's fenced. So there's a lot of it's fenced. And he's on the right hand side this time. And I see this thing, and it's like a big German Shepherd. It's kind of loping along. It's got a head shaped like a wolf's head with the pointed ears. And it just looks over at me when the dogs run, and the dog's running it, and it just keeps just loping away like, no big deal. And I screamed at it and I threw some stuff at it and it just gone.
Threw some leaves.
And I was just like, I did not intimidate that. I scared the other one. I didn't scare that one. And that made me think like now I can't when I go in the backyard at night, I used to just let the dogs run free. And now I got to go like, and truly, it's Yoshi and Yub Yub is their name, but now I'm changing it to chicken and beef. So, cause, and that would be something that would lead to my unhappiness is
Yoshi is chicken.
Watching my dog get ripped apart in front of me that way would be horrible.
That would not be.
Yeah. So the worry
on my bucket list of things.
The worry of that, and the first thing I thought about is like, fuck them, leg traps all the way around the outside. I'm gonna snap it. And the wife's like, you can't. Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's wrong. And I said, okay, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna set up in a perimeter around the yard. None of that. But if something kills my dogs, I am going to do it, and I'm going to kill every damn one that comes near my yard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to kill them. I'm going to gut them. I don't care. I'll gut them and I'll throw their guts in the street, and I don't care. I will just leave it there. You do not hurt my dogs. Okay,
no,
that's weird. That's very weird. And yes, it would give me satisfaction to waste something. Oh, it's its natural ability. No, it's not natural that a coyote is living in McLean. Okay, please.
That is kind of weird, isn't it?
It's not it's a them,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're sitting over here blowing away deer all the time, and it's like, well, maybe we should whack a few coyotes.
Well, it's like, how do they have a steady food supply? Maybe that's why they've
neighborhood
so far.
Dogs.
Well, that's like there's where I used to live in California in Los Feliz. There's just dead cats all over the street because they go down there and they just kill them and then they leave.
They don't eat them.
No, they don't eat them. They just kill them.
Oh my God, they're fat.
Yeah,
I wonder why they would kill them. That seems so odd.
It's weird. Yeah, I just saw a bunch of dead cats on the sidewalks everywhere. I was like, what is this?
Were they torn up?
Not really. You know what? Now I'm wondering if there's somebody was poisoning the local cats.
Yeah, that's more like.
You know what? I think I just had a realization.
Yeah, there's a lot of wacky people out there.
Because there was dead cats like all over the place.
We started out in happiness, and now we're into dead cats.
I mean, isn't it happiness just a dead cat? I think it's
well, I mean, cat happiness is a live cat. We had 2 live cats.
We did for 20 years, 21 years.
22 years for Fromage and 19 years for Cassandra. And I think that we get into animals and we talk about how they make us happy, and they just like, I don't know, I can't explain it. But when the little piece of crap jumps in and hops on you and does that and just snuggles up, doesn't care. No preconceived, you got to do this for me, you got to do that for me, you got to do this. But wow,
you ever think about how guinea pigs are just smaller dogs? You ever think about that?
The little fuckers bite you.
Remember
that?
Guinea pigs?
Oh God!
No, that was the hamster. The guinea pigs are nicer.
My
I don't know
God,
what
that
it
he
is.
It kept biting the tips of my fingers and
He
chunks
did
out
that
of
to
them.
me. It really
Bleed
hurt,
all over the
It
place.
hurts so bad.
Yeah.
It hurts.
And then he
so
laugh
bad.
at you.
Yeah. He
And his cheeks are all full.
He was such an ass.
Yeah.
But no, guinea pig doesn't bite though. Guinea pig has a lust for life, unlike a hamster does. I don't know what
Yeah.
it is. Guinea pig is just a happier
I
creature.
guess
I
the
think it's
hamster
good.
just figured he's going to be snake food. So, so
That I think that's exactly what it is. At least
arf,
the guinea
arf.
pig is like, oh, there's
Yeah.
multiple of me here. Because you can't even take two Syrian hamsters and put them together; they'll kill each other. Because
Really.
they're just yeah, but guinea pigs they travel in packs for some odd reason. I don't know why.
Ooh, I'm scared. A pack of guinea pigs is coming. Ooh.
Well, that was like
You know
Harrison's
what?
family.
That's a great idea. I'm going to get a bunch of guinea pigs and put them in the backyard to keep the coyotes away. What do you think?
That's a good idea. Well, that's what happened to Harrison, is that his parents were raising them outside in the little guinea pig huts, and what happened is the raccoons figured out where they lived, and there's a slot door that comes down, and one of them held the door up, and they ate them all. Like there's blood all over the grass and everything, and
They
that was the
slaughtered them.
same night
How do
where
you know it was raccoons?
because they tracked them down, they killed them all. That's basically what happened. Yeah, because there was like five, there was like eight or nine of them, I think, living in the sewer behind their house. Because the
Wow.
same ones a month earlier found out they had a koi pond. They didn't have anything to protect the koi fish, and there was like the water was red after they
Oh
killed
my
like
gosh.
10 grand worth of koi
Food,
fish.
man, food.
There was like fish heads and stuff and guts all over the yard, and there was like
Okay,
guinea pig
raccoons are
fur
local,
and
so I can understand that more. But also,
yeah,
raccoons are all, I mean, like 98% of them have, or 92 in our neck of the woods have rabies.
yeah.
So if you,
Is it
if you,
92?
it's really,
Oh
really high.
wow.
I just pulled that thing out of my Uranus. So,
I didn't realize it was that high.
yeah, it's real high. It's real high that it more often than not, if you get bit by a raccoon, you just get the shots to for rabies because most likely they have rabies.
Um,
There's a bunch of animals are that way because they just it it, it gets in the population and it doesn't go away.
yeah.
And it doesn't harm them.
Well, they're pack creatures too, right? They
Or it
travel like
does.
10 of them at a time.
God, I remember when we first moved into this house, we had two persimmon trees out back. And I counted like when the persimmons were ripe, they would drop on the ground. And I counted out back these that was a happiness moment. There were 14 raccoons, and it was like families of them came down from the little hill, and they climbed down the hill to where the tree were. And one guy was in the tree on one of the branches eating it, and everybody else was on the ground. And it was it was like a freaking raccoon reunion. And I opened up the door stupidly, and Fromage runs out, dumbass. And then she kind of moves towards this very, very, very big raccoon, twice her size. She was about, what was she like? 14 pounds, 13 pounds. This raccoon was 25, maybe a little, but big.
They're like weirdly big.
And he looked
I
at
don't know
her
what that is.
like, what, what, what? You're kidding me, aren't you? And he just had that. He had to sneer, and it was so funny because he has the little mask and the little paws like this, and he's almost like, "Really, you want to mess with me?" And for mom, was like,
Huh.
she wasn't growling; she was doing the whatever the hissing thing. And
Hissing, yeah.
I ran out there, and I was like, I grabbed her, and I apologized to the raccoon immediately, and
He
then
shook his
turned
hand.
around. No, I didn't shake his hand. I just said, "Sorry, she doesn't know what she's talking about." Bullshit. I turned, grabbed the cat, and turned around and went inside. And the raccoon was like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." Turned back
Okay.
around and was, well, he was eating, and it was just like she was interrupting his eating, and it was like, "What? Do you know who you're talking to?" And it was just the look on the raccoon's face was like, "Do you know what you're doing here? What are you sure?
A little
You sure you
condescending.
want to do this?" Yeah, that's what the raccoon was saying to Fromage, and I could see it all in a matter of like 5 seconds.
Well, that's the weirdest thing too, because there was somebody that I knew that was house sitting, this family of five cats, clean
Yeah,
house for some reason. I don't know how they
yeah,
did it. The maid must have come in like 5 times a week, I'm sure.
yeah,
But they also fed the raccoons in the back at night. And there's like eight of them back there. I'm like, why are you making problems for yourself?
yeah.
Making
I mean, if
problems
you're
for
gonna feed
yourself.
things, I wouldn't. That's not on my list to feed. I feed the birds, which probably brings the mice. The mice bring the snakes. We have snakes, but I mean, I haven't seen any this year, and we don't have that many chipmunks. We usually have a bunch. We used to have bunnies. Now we have three fox that live across the creek, and now we have coyotes. So all the smaller animals are all going away.
You ever
You
think
know?
about just introducing a different species like weasels? and
Well,
see
I don't know what would.
what
I
would
mean, I
happen.
would introduce a species that would kill coyote, but not a dog.
So
And
gorillas, you got to get a bunch of gorillas.
yeah, I could get some gorillas, but I don't think they could make it through the winter unless I build a gorilla home. And
Yeah, you
and
need a
then,
gorilla.
the neighbors get all weird about it and everything like that. And
Yeah.
then the gorilla wants to come in your house, and then the gorilla can't use the toilet. He has to use your pillow, and there's
How
all
weird is it? Because they use sign language. Isn't that strange? You ever think about that?
yeah, yeah.
I don't
They
think
could always
people
just
think
give you
about.
the one.
They don't
He
think
knows
about.
what one is. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Happy gorilla.
They people don't think about that enough. How they can
Well,
speak with us on like a
wait,
6 to 7 year old sign language level.
which is 80% of America.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I mean,
46% of
sadly,
Americans can't read above a sixth grade reading level.
yeah. So
46%. That's embarrassing.
they're even with gorillas.
Yeah, pretty
How
much.
sad.
That's
So
pretty bad.
does that not make you think that there was some uh that there is, well, it doesn't make me think. I already know that evolution is real, and that, you know, and that to me is
That makes me think of Cat Williams, and you remember his thing that was whole all like, oh, how does evolution exist? How do we come from monkeys when monkeys are still around?
yeah.
It's
Well, that's what a lot of people say is
yeah,
how did something evolve if something is still there that it was before? And it's like,
exactly.
well, all of them didn't evolve. One of
Yeah.
them did. And then that one procreated and the other one still kept procreating. It's not rocket science. It's just a little common sense.
Just a
You
little
know,
bit.
it isn't like all of a sudden you develop this new thing, like you can hear a different, or you can see everything, and then all of a sudden everybody out there just dies. No, they don't. They keep procreating like they're going along. Yours is superior. Yours actually procreates, and yours survives.
It's the one. Exactly.
Right. And so you keep happening and keep happening and keep happening, and ultimately we can't live without that trait. And if we can't live without that trait, then we all die. But the thing is the traits that the humans have developed is speech and, interact, whatever the hell you want to call what we've done. We're what are we, two genes? We're like two DNAs away from from gorillas. So, we haven't really evolved that much, but even though we seem like we're so far apart, we're really not that far apart from them. And we didn't develop anything that they needed to survive forever other than our ability to make them extinct. We are really, really good at making things extinct to fulfill our needs
You know
in
what
a
I
lot
would
of
do
cases.
if I could see one extinct species? You ever remember the what is it? The kiwi bird?
Yeah.
You know what that is? With the big
Yeah, the
round.
little tiny bird
Um,
like this with the little round head. And
I thought they
I
were
think
like,
you have one, don't you?
oh, I do have
You have a,
one. Yeah, yeah,
you have
yeah,
a
yeah. I have
stuffed
a stuffed
kiwi.
one. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
protects
I
my
love that.
spices. But
Are they still around?
we gotta Google this. I think. Do you have
I
your
thought the
phone?
kiwi bird was still around. I didn't
I thought
realize.
it
I
was
thought
dead.
I thought
I
it was dead, and then they got it back. But that there is a certain thing when you see an animal like that it gives you a sense of happiness. I mean,
well,
I
I thought
love
they
that.
used to be the size of us for some odd reason. I don't know why.
Hmm.
Is that true? I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, well, I think you're talking more on the ostrich level and those
Yeah,
guys, that class, and what is it?
I'm a fan of the ostrich. They're
Wanak-
mean too.
the Wanakas. They're like short ostriches. They're in
Uh,
South America. When we talked about earlier going to Patagonia, that's where you'd see Wanakas, and they look like little ostriches, and they're about 3 feet tall instead of 5 feet.
I saw a road runner the other day. I was a big fan of that. I
Oh,
like that guy.
wow. That's right.
Yeah.
You're in West. You're going to see a lot of things. Have you seen rattlesnakes? Yeah.
Nah. Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. I did see one about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen a
Yeah. It
couple
was
Easterns
weird.
here. I've never seen them in the wild out there. What kind of snakes? I've seen a lot, mostly crocodiles, alligators, and all that kind of stuff. It's more fun.
That's
That's the
fair.
Florida. Eat that.
So what else has been making you
So,
happy?
well, I think that
Meditative times.
that I haven't really explored it, but I know when I do, it makes me feel better. And the thing that I've really done the most of that makes me happy is exercise, physical doing things, you know, and when you get out of bed in the morning, what do you have to do? I don't have to do any of that. I have literally nothing. I can do anything I want for the most part. I mean, I can commit felonies, but there's consequences. But you know, and I'm not really high on. There's not a lot of felonies that are on my list of things to do, so I'm not going to pursue that. But
Not a
I
lot
mean,
left to do.
one of the things I do is I do the walk in nature thing many times a day. I mean, every day I can. Plus, I have a pretty good sized yard, which is got a lot of vegetation and a lot of pretty flowers and stuff like that. Now it's spring, so to me, the coolest thing is there's what the hell were they? I saw snowbells across the creek. You know where our
The
house is
purple
in.
flower, right?
No, white. They're
White?
white, and they
Oh,
just kind of
snow.
hang
Yeah,
down
that
like
makes sense.
this, and they call them snowbells. And
Mm.
they were probably 3 weeks ago. The whole area by, and I'll say the name Kiefer over there, that whole area was covered with those white flowers. It
I've
was
seen that before. Yeah.
and it was just gorgeous. And then the little purple ones came up. What are those? Are those
Bluebells.
crocus? No, no. Bluebells are different. They're literally bluebells. This is crocus. These are purple and they kind of pop up and they have the yellow center and everything. I have
Yep.
pictures of that. And those, I don't know why it is, but you're walking along and it's just a little less than cold. The sun's out, it's kind of bright, and you're in your own backyard and you look around and the first flower you see is this little purple thing that's popped up and looks bright and shiny and reaching for the sky. And you just think to yourself, wow. Ah,
Breath of
that's it.
fresh air.
That gives me the moment. I mean, that's it. I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why that does it. I'm sure it doesn't do it for a lot of people to see some new beautiful growth. But now I've been, putting up a whole lot of birdhouses and all that kind of stuff. I showed you the one. I put one up on the tree.
You said
I
did a
put
bunch of squirrel homes too recently, right?
yeah, I did 4 squirrel homes. I have a bat house. I did an owl house. I did a couple of the bird houses, but I got a bluebird house in particular. Put it out so I could see it right from the kitchen. Put it there, hoping that something's going to come in. And the very next day, that evening, somebody went in there and just destroyed it. It was the guy that was on the boat when we were the pilots. I think he came back and he broke into my birdhouse and he ate the whole front of it off. And the way he did it is the birdhouse hole is a circle, but it ate it into a perfect heart. He ate. I don't know.
What
I'll
kind of
send you a
animal
picture.
would even do that? A squirrel? A
I
squirrel?
don't know, but you can see the teeth marks all over. So he had some big friggin' teeth.
It might have been a
Uh,
squirrel. Uh,
yeah, I mean, it could have been, but yeah, squirrels will, but they ate the wood, I think, or they took the wood with them because the wood was not at the bottom of the tree because that's what happened. That was a lot. That was a
it wasn't a
fair amount of wood.
woodpecker. Woodpecker wouldn't do that.
No, woodpecker would
Woodpe-
get it if there was food in it. I mean,
there
if
was
there's
none.
food bugs, there was no bugs in it.
Uh,
I put food in the bottom of it. So
oh,
I'm
maybe.
wondering if somebody made a hole big enough for them to get through and then ate the food and then left and I'll never see him again. But I don't have a clue to that. But it's just like it was kind of cool. So I left it up for a while. We'll see what happens with it and say, you know. And interestingly enough, that we're doing it on happiness, and that's bluebirds, and you always hear about the bluebird of happiness. So I will send you that picture, and you can use that as the intro. So
No, I'm a fan of the bluebird. I like the
yeah,
bluebird.
oh my God, they're gorgeous. I changed food that I was feeding, and they come in, and I have tons of finches and
I still like the
cardinals
cardinal,
and
though. The cardinal's my favorite.
the red,
Or the
you know.
hummingbird.
Yeah.
I'm down
Oh,
to
we
those
have a
two.
ton. Oh, I've kind of doubled down on that too. I got 4 hummingbird feeders and put them out front, and I'm going to plant a bunch of trees that are going to breed. And I'm going to just be the old guy that dicks around with looking at all the life. I want life. I want this to be a bastion of happy,
It's
that
been
kind
a
of stuff.
bastion
And that,
for years, too.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because and now that the neighbor's house sold, you can tell that I'm looking at the 20 trees that are going to get whacked as soon as they build the mega mansion next door. And he
It's
showed
gonna
me
be
the
gross.
plan, so he is going to wipe them all out. So
Jeez.
it's going to be, and I don't mind. It's his property; he can do whatever he wants with it. I have a garage that blocks all sight of him, and I have a bunch of trees on my property that block all sight of him. And that's it, you wouldn't think about this, and your mother might necessarily, but what I did 20 years ago was go around and put green trees in places that would block the neighbors so I wouldn't have to see the neighbors in the winter time. I got enough trees to make nobody can see our house in the summertime, But in the winter, unless you come to the mailbox and look down and you're there
I
with
have
your
always
little
noticed that.
binoculars. Yeah, so I can pretty
I've
much walk
noticed
around
that.
naked in my backyard. Yes, that just for you to know.
Well, I do that
To
anyway, so
Yeah,
I
well,
used
that's
to at
okay.
least.
You can get away with it, but old creepy guys when they walk around with their gray-haired ass showing, it kind of bothers people, you
Just a
know.
little bit.
So
Just a tad.
yeah, it spoils other people's happiness, and I don't want to do that.
Those people are just rude. They're
Yeah.
ignorant.
Well,
They're ignorant.
you shouldn't have looked if you didn't want to see it is really not a good but you're in your own backyard and it's like
They used to work. It doesn't work as much anymore.
yeah. Yeah. 3 steps off my house is my hot tub and my pool. And instead of putting clothes on, I always just go, you
Mhm.
know. I mean, unless somebody's there or it's winter and I got to wear a towel because I don't really want to be, I'm not that open about being naked in front of all these people.
Yeah, I never really understood it. It wasn't
Well,
ever my
I got
forte.
neighbors that little kids and people are touchy about shit like that.
I
I don't
wonder
want
why. I couldn't
Well,
imagine why.
not everybody is that way. I remember in Greece, when we went to Greece and
Oh, that is true.
we go to the beach and my guy, it was the weirdest thing. And the family gets out of the car and there's 5 people that get out of it. And they had boys and girls from say 7 to 16 buck naked. And I
European.
just,
The Europeans.
no. Everybody there was topless. Cool. Show your boobs. That's fine. But kids were not. And so to be standing there 30 feet away from a family that runs into the surf naked was very, very strange.
That is a little odd. That's
But
my only imagination could be they're Europeans. That's the only
yeah. I was just like, well, yeah, everybody sees it differently and it bothers them. But for me to see kids,
well, it's kind of like Russian saunas, like when you go in there.
Oh God,
it's just weird. Well, that's even not even Russian saunas anymore. That's any gym that you go to, and everybody's naked in there. And I'm just like, what is this? What is
spoiling
this?
your happiness?
Oh, it is spoiling my happiness.
I did not want wieners.
My happiness is clothed people. That's my happiness. People with clothes on. Jeez.
You prude. Unless they're hot. No, I don't want to see good-looking guys naked. That just doesn't.
Not my thing either.
For me either. No.
No
offense to those that do, but
well, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're coming up on the end here. We got a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
And what else? What else has been bringing you happy? We got about 4 minutes here.
Well, I think that writing my life,
journaling.
Yeah, I wrote a strategic plan a year ago. I've done many of the things on it. Some of the things I haven't, which I'm going to remove. And I feel like that when you have a direction and an idea for the things that you want to do, and you could tweak it and change this, that, and the other, that makes you feel better about life. That adds to my happiness when I know that. I mean, I've always been one of those people that needs to achieve something, So when you're in retirement, what are you going to achieve? Being a lazy fuck,
You got to become a beginner again at something, which is unsettling.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's really unsettling.
Yeah. I kind of thrive at not knowing what I'm doing. I've done that very well.
That's all I ever do, right?
Everybody I've ever worked with is always convinced that I don't know anything, but that's perfect. That's exactly how I want it.
Well, shooting into the dark is at least shooting, right? And I think that's...
well, yeah, but I would argue that I would know where place.
We don't know initially. You never know initially, but then you hit something. No, well, that's where you base everything. Your path.
Yeah,
off.
That's true. You can narrow it though. You can narrow it instead of
over time for sure. Yeah, no.
But it's funny when you think about that, and somebody was telling me about, oh, you should know more about investing and stuff like that, and I said, no, actually, and Wall Street Journal proved this over and over and over and over and over and over and over that a random throw darts against the stock market, just throw darts. And a dartboard with all the stocks listed on it is as good or better than the investment advisors telling you what to do.
I completely agree.
Well, but you wouldn't think that. You would think that there was some knowledge to this, that they build trillions of dollars of industry experience into this, and businesses run off of telling you how to do what your thing with your money, when all you really got to do is just throw a freaking bunch of darts against a board and you're in the same boat.
Yeah, that's not funny.
That's sad. But
Cool.
it also sort of says, well, don't take yourself too seriously, when you're handling your own retirement.
And I think on that note, we're gonna wrap up
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
And as I'm sneezing, gosh, I can't stop sneezing right
Yeah.
now. But yep, as always, just a Q and
Achoo.
A section. Oh
Uh,
god, don't do it, don't
uh,
do it. Stop,
uh,
stop. I am going to
achoo.
gonna make me
Achoo.
sneeze again.
Achoo.
Oh,
Say
as
hello to the
always, there's
bluebirds.
a Q&A section on the Spotify. And ask us some questions, we have answers, or the other way around. Do you have any final notes here?
We suspended the video last time. We'll probably not do it this time because we seem like better internet
It looks
connection.
good. It looks good
It's going to
today.
be good and back and forth, I think. So,
So be prepared
on
for
that
that.
note, hey, be good at it, semi-automatic.
All right. Bye-bye.